Okay, it's officially time for the next A to Z mini rework my thoughts, ideas, changes, so on and so forth. Okay, we are finally on Kog'Maw, or as I love to say, Kog'Maw. I don't know why, but when I first read his name, I said Kog'Maw, instead of Kog'Maw, and then my friend yelled at me. The Mouth of the Abyss, which is just weird. Damage mixed, which is mostly true, but 3 damage and nothing else. Yeah, this is very true. He has 1 slow. He pops like a balloon. He is so slow himself, and he has absolutely no utility. He is the majority of auto attacks, but to be truthful, he still uses his abilities at least a reasonable amount. I would move this over slightly. I'd make it a good, 75% auto attacks, 25% abilities. And by that, I mean it'd be over here because this leans towards what it more is, so it would be reverse of what the actual bar technically shows in terms of percentages. So yeah, I would say 75% auto attacking and 25% abilities due to what his abilities are. Difficulty 3, yeah, understandable. Just because, anyone can play Kog'Maw because you really only need to hit 1 button and you can truthfully get a pentakill from that 1 button alone. But to actually be good at Kog'Maw and to properly use his abilities, you'd need to hit a bit more. So then, belched forth from a rotting void incursion deep in the wastelands of Ikathia, Kog'Maw is an inquisitive yet putrid creature with a caustic, gaping mouth. This particular void spawn needs to gnaw and drool on anything within reach to truly understand it. Though not entirely evil, Kog'Maw's beguiling knave is dangerous, as it often precedes a feeding frenzy, not for sustenance, but to satisfy its unending curiosity. See, I love Kog'Maw. I don't know why, but Kog'Maw has always been a champion that I've really enjoyed, I've really liked. I've always found him just cute. Okay, not exactly cute. Okay, more cool looking than cute. I don't know why I use the word cute, because this is definitely not cute. But I just like the whole aesthetic behind him, what he is. And I don't know why I find it really interesting, and he's probably one of the few ADCs that I enjoy playing, even though he's terrible. Icathian Surprise. Upon dying, Kog'Maw starts a chain reaction in his body, which causes him to move faster and detonate after 4 seconds, dealing 100 plus 25 times level true damage to surrounding enemies. 25 times level. Wow, that actually really hurts later on. But really, honestly, I really don't like it because, I like it late game, sort of, because, late game, you're always being targeted first. So when you die first, which is pretty inevitable, especially how squishy you are, you can literally just not worry about anything and run at them and explode, and it will hurt them, but, also late game, it really won't do massive amounts of damage. Mid game, it's okay. Late game, it's okay. Early game, it's terrible, because, I will say, it's very, very rare, but every now and then you will get a trade. If someone tower dives you, and then they live with a tiny amount of HP, and then you just run it and explode, and now they're dead, and it's cool, I just got a trade because of my passive there. But for the majority of cases, I really don't think it's that good. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what else to say. I really don't think it's the greatest thing in the world. It's like Karthus, but worse. If you died and were Kog'Maw as, like Karthus, and you stayed alive for a little while, or Scion, where all of your abilities change, but you could move at an increased rate, something like those two that have, death-defying passives, it'd be one thing, because, you could really cause a big effect. But this one, you need to be in melee range, run at them, you don't gain as much movement speed as you do with Scion, and when you explode, it's a set amount of, well, not exactly a set amount of damage, but it's a set amount of damage, and, not like Scion, where you could just keep punching them, and the damage varies, or like Karthus, when you can just spam all your abilities. This one, you just explode. So Maybe I'd add something to his passive, like allow him to use his Q and his E, or maybe his R, just not his W, because his W is literally just auto attack. But I'd probably add something to it to like either allow him to use abilities. It could be like Scion, to where he gains 100% lifesteal, or like Spell Vamp on his abilities. So when he uses any of these abilities, he can just last longer, and every time he hits you with something, it gives him more move speed. Something like that would be really cool. Or maybe changing it so that when you die, or when you reach certain parts of your health bar, like let's say every 30% of your health, this happens. And instead of like it doing that, it will cause a chain reaction in your body, and it will increase movement speed, and then just a burst and it will happen around you. And then when you die, that will fully trigger. So basically, either just like add more, or just something along that line. So like every time he loses 30% of his HP, he automatically, his body turns purple, and he gains a small burst of movement speed, and then after 4 seconds, a little burst happens around him. So it basically be exactly what he is, but he wouldn't die, he'd only lose 30% of HP. And when he dies, then he would still have his current passive. Something along that line I think would be better. Then we have his Q, Caustic Spittle. Kog'Maw launches a corrosive projectile which deals magic damage and corrodes the target's armor and magic resist for a short time. Kog'Maw also gains additional attack speed. So, honestly, I think the ability is fine itself, but I wish that it had more of like an AoE effect. Like when it hits its target, then it does like a little burst around them. Like, and imagine that hitting them, and then like a little wave of spittle went everywhere around him. Something like that I think would be a bit more efficient. And then his ability that can allow him to kill an entire enemy team, Bio-Arcane Barrage. Kog'Maw attacks gain range and deal a % of target's maximum health as magic damage. So, yeah, he literally just gains rage. Not exactly attack speed, but it seems like he does. And honestly, like this ability, because his auto attacks do a % of your max HP, he shreds tanks. If you build lifesteal on him, they are considered auto attacks, so it heals him. If you build a lot of attack speed, it also you barrage them. I guess that is the ability's name, but yeah, but you just destroy them. Then we got his E, his Void Ooze. Kog'Maw launches a peculiar ooze which damages all enemies it passes through and leaves a trail which slows enemies to stand on it. Or slows enemies who stand on it, I mean. See, I kind of wish this ability was a little bit different. See, when you look at his overview, he is just oozing all the time. And I kind of wish that was like, I kind of wish that his E had a passive to where just like him walking around left this trail behind him that would slow enemies that walk on it. And whenever he uses the ability, he shoots out all of his spittle, and then while the ability is on his cooldown, the passive is not active. So basically, I wish that his E had a passive added onto it that made him cause this little trail that was always going to be behind him no matter what, except for when his E is on cooldown. And it would, besides that, it would stay the exact same. Then we have his R. Now this is something. Living Artillery. Kog'Maw fires an artillery shell at a target distance, dealing magic damage. Increased significantly on low health enemies, and revealing non-stealth targets. Additionally, multiple living artilleries in a short period of time cause them to cost additional mana. So basically, the faster you use this, the more mana you use. But it also does more damage for less HP, and it does a lot more, like, it scales really hard with your HP. Well, like the enemy's HP, they're low HP anyway. But, this ability, honestly, is the entire defining factor between a good Kog'Maw and a bad Kog'Maw. Well, I guess a Kog'Maw that just hits W, such as myself, and then a Kog'Maw that really knows what they're doing and hits their R key. Basically, you want to weave your R in between auto attacks. Now, I don't mean like auto attack R, auto attack R, auto attack R. No. You want to auto attack like 3 to 4 times, then use your R, then do it again, land your E, then use your R. Well, you always want to like use WQ immediately or QW right after each other because of the increase in attack speed. But then your E, you kind of want to weave that in there here and there with your R and just things like that. It will really help, and the range on your R is actually pretty significant. So you'd be surprised how many times you can snipe targets with it. Especially like if they survive your onslaught and you just land 1 or 2 R's on them, they'll just explode. So honestly, I wouldn't even change anything about this ability. This ability alone gives him that difficulty 2 rating. Like the rest of his abilities are kind of just like hit him in this order or hit him situationally or just hit them all at once. This ability is the only one that you actually need to like pay attention to their health bars, pay attention to where you are, pay attention to your auto attacks that you're already shooting out. Because if you just like rapid tap your R, 1, you're going to run out of mana instantly, and 2, you won't be really doing that much damage because it's based off of their missing health. And you can really chop that down quick with your W. Now, there are certain situations, though, that you do just want to hit your W and, like, just let go of your keyboard. Because, like, when you're at 6 items and you have any form of frontline tank, you can melt any champion in the game. It does not matter. You will shred them. If you have, like, a Rage Blade and a Bloodthirster and then, like, a Hurricane and a lot of attack speed crit, you just go through people. And you heal so quick. But, yeah, that may be like a Bork and just, you just go through people like that. So, that's Kog'Maw for the most part. I wouldn't make every single change that I did say about him. I would only do some of them. As I said, his R would stay the same no matter what. His W will stay the same no matter what. Those are like what the really defining aspects of Kog'Maw. Honestly, I think his Q can stay the same. I think it would be a little bit overpowered if all the changes I made were made. But basically, I think his Q can stay the same. The only thing I would really like to see Kog'Maw change in is tweak his E and tweak his passive. As I said, I think his E should have a permanent passive on it that he's just constantly creating a little trail that slows enemies that walk into it. It's not a big slow. It doesn't have to be a big slow. It can be like 20%. But just something that is there that, honestly, for me, that's more of a lore thing than anything else. Like, he's always oozing that stuff out. He might as well have it constantly. And then when he uses the ability, he will stop oozing it. And that would also be a great way to tell, oh, cool, this ability is down because he's not releasing an ooze. He doesn't have a trail behind him. And then I really do think that thing with his passive, that every time 30 HP, he loses 30 HP, he automatically gains a small burst of movement speed, and then a burst happens around him after the movement speed decays. Basically, just give him his passive, but 3 times. Let it stack up to 3 for every 30% of HP he has. And if he, like, heals back past one of his marks, then it will have, like, a cooldown effect. But, like, the cooldowns are automatically reset upon him dying. Or if he gets a kill. Those should be, like, the things. Basically, what will happen is every 30% of HP, this will happen. Only he will be able to, like, auto-attack and everything in between hand. He'll be able to... and, like, he'll just gain a small amount of movement speed, and then a burst will happen around him once it finishes. Then, let's say he regens, like, all of his HP back through potions, or through lifesteal. Then the cooldown for his passive would be, like, 20 seconds after getting that, after getting the entire thing back. That's actually kind of gross. He quite literally explodes. But, yeah. Basically, I think that would just be a lot better. It would make him survive assassins easier, give him a small amount of chance to escape. Plus, he'd have his E passive, which would make it harder for the assassins to re-jump onto him. It just give him like a small amount of survivability. Plus, it would probably increase his mobility to 2. Maybe increase his crowd control to 2 as well with his E. That's not what I want to do. With his E. But I think it would be fine for the most part. I think that his Q, W, and R should stay the same. His E should get a small passive that would just make the trail behind him. The trail doesn't even need to last long. The trail behind him could literally last 1 to 2 seconds, and then it just fades. So, like, unless you're going full movement speed Kog'Maw, and it won't even do damage, so it's not going to be, like, a singed or anything like that. But, yeah. I think that his passive should basically just get bigger. His E should have a passive and be the same besides that. And, yeah. Now we got Kog'Maw skin. He has quite a few of them. Caterpillar Kog'Maw is literally just a recoloring of the first skin. Sonoran Kog'Maw is just a recoloring of the first skin. Monarch Kog'Maw, I think, is stupid because just look at it. I love Reindeer Kog'Maw. It's just such a goofy but good skin. I do think that this skin is actually good. And, yeah. Then we have Lion Dance Kog'Maw. This one is also great, even though it does kind of... I don't know, like, it is really good. I like the effects that it has, too, and just overall it looks good. Deep Sea Kog'Maw, I think it's better than, like, the first 2 skins that I showed, because, as I said, like, these are just recolorings basically, and this one just is a recoloring with wings. But so I would put it at higher than these 3, but at the same time it's really not that good of a skin. Jurassic Kog'Maw is fantastic. I think this skin just really looks cool and just is overall really nice. I like how he's just bursting out. Then we have Battlecast Kog'Maw. Yet again, a really nice, good-looking, cool skin that is just overall good. He just looks like he's a mini warship ready to blow everything up. And Pugmaw is just cute and adorable. You can't dislike this skin. We do have the Hextech Kog'Maw, but I've actually never seen it in an actual game. And I think it's cute, but that's all it really has. If I had to give them a rating, I would say, like, it basically just goes down the line for the most part. Like, this is a solid 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. I'd put this one at, like, a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and then I'd put the actual, like, the Hextech at a 9 out of 10, and I'd put both Battlecast and Pugmaw at 10 out of 10. Like, these skins are just too good. He's literally just a pug in this one, and it's just a good skin. And then this one, he just looks like a little warship ready to destroy everything. This one, he's really cute, and don't get me wrong, it's a really good skin, and it has a good theme behind it. But, like, the other ones just flow better. Honestly, even having this at an 8 and this at a 9 is kind of iffy for me because I just really like these skins. But yeah, I would definitely do this. Like, have this be an 8. But all these previous skins are pretty meh for the most part. But I love this skin, but it really doesn't look that great. I think it needs a bit of a revamping. And I think this skin looks good, but eh. Let me actually swap those around. As, like, we'll keep 1, 2, 3, and then this will be a solid 5. I'm actually going to have this be the 6, this be the 7. This is still the... this is the 8, the Jurassic, 9, and then 2 10s, because I love Kog'Maw. He is one of my favorite champions, and he always will be, but man, I really wish he got, like, a little bit of a buff or something. He's just mediocre right now. If you agree or disagree with anything I may have said with this A to Z, please leave it down in the comments below. I will gladly get back to you as soon as possible. And, yeah. Next, I believe, should be LeBlanc. So we'll see what happens there. And I'm going to thank you all very much for watching and bid you all adieu. Goodbye.